UN falls short of aid pledge to Yemen despite peace efforts. The UN missed its financing target for Yemen by $2 billion last year. The international community was also urged to help restore Yemen's economy, suggesting this would reduce people's suffering over the long term. This report has more details.
At a high-level United Nations event, global donors pledged $1.2 billion dollars in aid operations to Yemen in 2023. Millions of Yemenis require humanitarian assistance as the country continues to suffer from the fallout of the prolonged civil war. According to sources, the United Nations had received 31 commitments during the conference in Geneva. The amount pledged remains well below the organization's target of $4.3 billion dollars. Yemen's economy has grown to a halt due to the 8 years of conflict. Last year, exogenous factors also led to steep falls in Yemen's real relative to the USD dollar, pushing inflation up to 45%. Elsewhere, food prices surged by 58%. In 2022, Yemen relied on the United Nations World Food Programme for basic staples. To date, the conflict has killed thousands of people, 60% from indirect causes, mainly malnutrition and diseases. The war has also raised the country's civilian and physical infrastructure, including its oil sector, Yemen's only source of foreign exchange. Last year, warring parties agreed to a United Nations brokered ceasefire. Though it expired in October, the 6-month truce led to a reduction in casualties. It also enabled commercial traffic to flow through the port of Hodeidah, increasing the supply of goods and aid into the country. A slight improvement in food security at the end of last year meant 2 million fewer Yemenis suffered from acute hunger. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said Yemen continued to rely on foreign aid. Two-thirds of the country's population will need humanitarian assistance in 2023. Among those in need, millions are to be living below Yemen's poverty line. Many Yemenis are internally displaced, largely due to climate change-related events. This week's conference took place as the country's rival groups agreed on to an informal suspension of hostilities. Efforts are underway to declare a lasting peace after the parties failed to extend their UN-backed peace agreement last year. The United Nations missed its financing target for Yemen by $2 billion dollars last year. The international community was also urged to help restore Yemen's economy, suggesting this would reduce people's suffering over the long term. Large-scale investment will be needed to rebuild Yemen's physical infrastructure. Securing peace, however, remains the top priority. Without it, millions will continue to face extreme levels of poverty, hunger, and suffering. Meanwhile, the United Nations Secretary General warned that aid funding would not provide a panacea for Yemen. Humanitarian assistance is a band-aid. It saves people's lives but cannot resolve the conflict itself.